We begin this Thursday with a look at today's top national headlines. At a closed-door fundraiser in West Virginia, President Trump called testimony from former special counsel Robert Mueller Wednesday, quote, a dud. But House Democrats say Mueller's answers were important for the American public to hear. The Democratic-led House Judiciary Committee says it's filing lawsuits later this week to obtain more information about the former special counsel's reports. After days of protests, the embattled governor of Puerto Rico has resigned. As CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta reports, Ricardo Rossello stepped down shortly before midnight, and it was met with celebration.
Protesters gathered in the streets of San Juan last night, listening intently to a Facebook live stream on their phones as Governor Ricardo Rossello spoke.
He tomado la siguiente decisión.
At that moment, when he said he would be resigning as governor, jubilation and dancing in the streets.
I'm happy, but I am not. We're not settling, you know. This is not about taking one corrupt person out. This is about changing the island for good.
For nearly 2 weeks, thousands marched in the streets calling for Rossello to leave office. The demonstrations followed the FBI's arrest of 2 former aides to the governor on fraud charges involving more than $15 million in federal funding. Shortly after, hundreds of pages of a group chat involving Rossello were leaked. They included profane, homophobic, and sexist comments about political opponents and celebrities. Some even mocked the island's hurricane victims. Next in line for governor should have been Rossello's Secretary of State, but the controversy also forced his resignation. That means Secretary of Justice Wanda Vasquez will be the next governor of Puerto Rico. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Rossello says his resignation is effective August 2nd. Demonstrators are also upset with Puerto Rico's deepening financial crisis. It has about $70 billion in debt, and nearly half the residents live below the poverty line. Back here in Montana, one Rexford woman is speaking out after 27 children were removed from the Ranch for Kids in northwest Montana over allegations of physical and psychological abuse and neglect. While information is limited, the Department of Public Health and Human Services reports children being hit, kicked, body slammed, and spit on by staff on this campus in Rexford. Staff reportedly used psychological abuse and excessive discipline, including 20-mile walks with no shoes or food. Because of these reports, the DPHHS stripped Ranch for Kids of its operating license. According to the Ranch for Kids website, the facility offers programs and coping strategies for children suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome and attachment disorder. The allegations did not surprise one Rexford resident who talked to MTM.
I know that some is going to be shocked, some is going to be surprised that it didn't happen sooner.
And this isn't the first time Ranch for Kids had a brush with the law. Critics of the program have made previous attempts to enforce licensing requirements. The investigation continues, but officials with the Department of Public Health and Human Services says all 27 children are now in a safe, secure location. Missoula State Senator Diane Sands was a sponsor of the bill that allowed the state to step in amid these allegations. And this will be the first of many similar organizations to fall.
I think it's going to be the first one of more than one. The other programs which have said they agreed to come under the licensing requirements of the state, some of them will clean up their act and have people who are qualified to run these programs and only doing programs that have been proven to be effective and not ones that are just sort of something somebody made up. Some others will probably close their doors, and that's fine. If they are not providing quality care and providing for the health and safety of these children, then they should be shut down.
Now in court news, federal prosecutors are recommending a sentence of 15 years for the former Miles City athletic trainer accused of decades of sexual assault. 79-year-old James Jensen is currently being housed at the prison in Shelby. He served as the trainer for Custer County High School from 1970 to 1998, where he developed the program as a way to sexually assault hundreds of male student athletes. Federal prosecutors say the level of Jensen's offense could qualify him for up to 8 years in prison. However, due to the factors of the case, prosecutors believe a maximum sentence of 15 years is appropriate with a 3-year supervised release. A statewide missing endangered persons advisory has been issued for a man last seen near Lame Deer. Evander Whitedirt is 25 years old, but authorities say has a mental health disability that causes him to function at the level of an 11-year-old child and possibly be combative. There is concern he may be endangered. If you have any information, call BIA Northern Cheyenne Law Enforcement at 406-477-6289. A group of protesters with a unique message are traveling the state. The group of mostly men were in Billings Wednesday at the corner of King Avenue and 24th Street protesting circumcision. They are part of a group called the Bloodstained Men who are on a 20-day protest tour through Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Idaho, and Utah. They argue that circumcision is a painful form of genital mutilation that is forced upon unconsenting infants. Protesters say the practice is medically unnecessary and should be stopped.
Human rights are for everyone, no matter what your parents believe. Our position is that everyone has a right to their own body, regardless of what their parents believe. This is not medicine. This is torture. It belongs nowhere in American hospitals.
According to the Mayo Clinic, infant circumcision has dropped from 83% in the 1960s in the United States to 77% in 2010. Now we go to the Billings Airport, where more money is coming in for a landing. More than $3 million was awarded Wednesday through an airline improvement grant offered by the FAA. This money will help the airport reconstruct its runway. In a statement, Billings Director of Aviation and Transit, Kevin Plone, says the money will help keep the airport's infrastructure plans. This joins another $1 million granted to the airport earlier this month. A non-native plant is popping up in areas of Montana, prompting the Montana Department of Agriculture to add another noxious and invasive weed to an already long list. Bent Anata is one of the fastest spreading invasive plants in Montana, taking up 55,000 acres in 19 counties. It's also known as wiregrass. The plant is found in pastures, rangeland, and other areas. Experts say the weed is capable of taking over pastures.
So if our desirable forage is being displaced by this new annual grass that doesn't have any forage value, that could really impact our livestock production in the state.
Controlling wiregrass can cost up to $75 an acre. It's also found in Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, and British Columbia. Coming up later this morning on CBS This Morning, kidney disease affects 14% of the population, and nearly 500,000 Americans with end-stage kidney disease are on dialysis. A Plains, Montana man on kidney dialysis was shocked when he received a bill in the mail for over $500,000 after 14 weeks of treatment. He'll be featured in CBS This Morning's Bill of the Month series, which uncovers unexpected and shocking medical bills.
We had really good insurance, but it was shocking. It was overwhelming because, you know, if a person gets bills, it can be distressing to get bills, but it was so high that it was like, how could this possibly be?
Dr. Elizabeth Rosenthal from Kaiser Health News explains what you need to know if you get a surprise medical bill in the mail and how to best navigate the healthcare system so you don't get one. The full story is set to air today on CBS This Morning around 8:15. From the North Dakota Badlands, a college student has made a discovery of a lifetime. Harrison Jurin teamed up with Professor Michael Cleland on a paleontology dig and discovered this Triceratops skull. Experts say the bones date back to the late Cretaceous period, about 65 million years ago. The duo is not sharing the exact location of the dig sites, but believes more bones will be found there. Harrison and Cleland named the dinosaur Alice after the landowner. They say they plan to conduct more research on Alice and prepare the dinosaur for display. With this week's hot temps, it's hard to even think of snow, but it's still dotting the fields over in Glacier National Park, and it's still prime for sledding. At least that's what this bear will want you to think. This video shared by Glacier National Park shows this poor guy attempting over and over again to regain his balance, but instead he's getting winter's version of a slip and slide. As you can see, it may have been a crazy ride, but no bears were injured in this ordeal. Before we take a break, around 80 middle schoolers are gathering at Montana State University this week to shoot for the moon, and NASA is chipping in, making the entire Earth and Space Science Camp free. MTN's Cody Boyer explains what the camp has to offer.
3, 2, 1, launch!
I want to go out there into space and discover new stuff.
That's something many of us wanted to do when we were Cash, Cadence, and Janie's age. Fly to the moon.
There's so much to learn about space. We need to know more about the moon and stuff because we haven't gone there for a lot of years.
With the help of MSU Academic Technology and Outreach and, of course, NASA, that's what around 80 kids are getting to do. Whether it's launching rockets piloted by egonauts to making sure they make it back to Earth. No cracks, no worry.
Mine's still together. It's in this balloon. We got to fly drones and we got to control robots.
Students from across the Treasure State, from Libby to Havre and beyond, got to shoot for infinity and beyond. A cool concept, especially when you are, say, 12 years old.
I am not that into science, but I figured I wanted to learn more.
Now this, I'm actually squatting down here on the moon. You'll see this, they're doing a lunar challenge to bring a replica of the Apollo here to the moon's surface. The importance? Get a bird's eye view on how NASA did all of this in the first place.
Classes range from studying germs in space to food and earth sciences, expanding beyond our atmosphere to include even more students this year, with about 40% of them being native.
Everybody from across the state has come here for this opportunity.
Something MSU NASA Explorer Space and Science Academy Director Richard White says is one way to connect young minds to what lies in orbit.
I feel like I want to be a science teacher.
Did this help kind of sway you back into science?
Yeah, it did.
Welcome to Space Camp!
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And Cody tells us the camp will run through tomorrow.